Oh, right, yeah, I see. Well, this is like a new upload, but it must be because Nick looks like he looks younger there. But I don't know. Maybe this is a recent thing. But yeah, it's Jesse and Nick. This is crazy. I didn't. Yeah, this is gonna be something. Let's go.
So you live with both parents, your father and mother together?
Correct, correct.
Amazing. And at what point do you plan to move?
I would say whenever I could comfortably be able to put down a down payment and reliably, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years of payments on a house. I don't know if there's a set point for me. I would just want to be financially comfortable before I'm ready to take that step.
And do you date? I'm sorry?
I said, no, not right now.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask, do you tell the women, well, I'm living at home with mama. Would you like to come over tonight?
Well, that's just it. It's one of those things.
And my last question about those issues, I know you are a male. Are you a man?
Yes.
And what is a man?
Yes, I was expecting this question. I watched your show. um, well, I would say I agree because I've heard your definition. I agree with you that a man is a Christian, somebody that tells the truth, somebody that worships God. I would also say it's somebody that takes care of their family, somebody that protects their wife, raises their children, somebody that's strong, somebody that's virtuous. I would say that that's what makes a man.
And you're a Christian as well, right?
Correct.
Right on.
Yes.
And so, do you have fear?
I would say I have fear of God, but that's about it.
That's about it. I I want to know from you what is America First and what is your show about?
My show, America First, is a nightly YouTube show. It's at 7 o'clock. I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. And the main theme of the show, the message of the show, is that we have to put America first again. It's a show that's pro Christian, it's pro family, it's pro American nationalism. The reason I started is because after the Trump election, I saw that there were a lot of people on the fringe that I think a lot of people didn't really, their message didn't resonate with Americans. And I saw that everybody else in the establishment wasn't putting America first. I don't think that they were Christian. Largely, the conservative establishment is comprised of atheists and other religious groups. And so I wanted to start a show that was unapologetically American, Christian, and pro family and all that good stuff.
How long you've had your show?
I have had it almost 3 years now.
Really? So, how is it going? Are there a lot of Zoomers and millennials agreeing with you about putting America first and Christianity and all that?
Yes, yes, it's going very well. It's been incredible to see the show grow. I think when I first started, I could hardly get 100 concurrent viewers, viewing at the same time. And I think this week we got up to 7,800 concurrent viewers. Our viewership has grown to like 60,000 views per show. So the growth has been pretty substantial, and it's almost all young people. It's almost all Zoomers, teenagers, 20 somethings, and a good chunk of millennials as well. So
I
I
work.
think young people. Yeah, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
Okay, I was just going to say briefly, I think a lot of young people are coming around to Christianity and nationalism.
That's good. I noticed that I work with a lot of young millennials and Zoomers around the world, and I noticed that they're very talented. They know how to get things done. They're creative. They know the computer. They know, but the other half is missing, right? Like morality, a belief
Mhm.
in God. What happened to them that the other half is missing? They seem to be more into the intellect than they are into logic and common sense. What happened?
That's a good question. I think it has to do with the boomer generation, Generation X. I think religiosity really fell away in the last 50 to 60 years. And you just have to look no further than the parents that raised the Zoomers or the millennials.
Yeah.
And I think, the people that were born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, boomers and Generation X, I think that they lost God because of hedonism, sexually with drugs. And also, I think the culture isn't promoting it at all. The media, the government, I think they're decidedly anti Christian. So I think
You're
it's
right
all
about
those
that.
factors. Right. It's all those factors that have conspired to take God out of our lives.
I really want to ask this because I was thinking about this the other day.
This is crazy. If it weren't for the fact Nick Fuentes is white, I'd think Jesse was his dad. That was an insanely thing that. Well, it was. I mean, he's right. Like that's what they say. It was the '60s was when birth control happened. The swinging '60s happened, and there wasn't STDs around. It was like, yeah, but yeah, this is crazy. This is literally mirror image.
I know that a lot of Zoomers and ZX, I mean, millennials are into the intellect, right? They don't seem to recognize right and wrong. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I was watching Tucker Carlson one day, and there was this black guy on there. He black by the name of Bob Smith, I think. Rob Smith. And Tucker was talking to Rob about conservative issues, or Democrat versus Republican or something like that. And Rob was talking about conservative issues. He sounded like a conservative guy. But then he later screamed out he was a homosexual and that he had a husband. A husband? I was like, what? I had never heard a black man all my years on earth. I had never heard of a black man saying out loud, especially in the public, that he had a husband. And so, and he claimed to be a Christian. I'm like, no, you can't be a conservative and a Christian and be a homosexual with a husband. Believe me. But I noticed that a lot of millennials seem to see homosexuality and lesbianism as a norm instead of an abnorm. Is that true? Am I seeing this right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And it's really unfortunate that we're seeing that from conservatives. We
Yeah.
expect the promotion of homosexuality from the left, and we accept the promotion of abnormalities and deviancy from the other side. But it seems like in the last 5 years, especially, I mean, even unfortunately, I think, in the GOP, they've been promoting this kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you 100%. There's nothing Christian about sodomy. There's nothing Christian about a man having a husband. And these are people that are on Fox News. These are people that are being dragged around by Charlie Kirk. And millennials and Generation Z hear this and they think that there's something conservative about that. It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
But and even to add to that, in reality, just like reality, there is no such thing as two men being a husband and two women lesbians being wives. It's just not even logic. It's like it blows your mind to even try to think of that in a logical way. So so millennials, not all, but most millennials and Z's, they think that that's normal because they've been taught that way growing up, or what?
Yeah, that's exactly right. With my generation in particular, I was born in 1998, and my formative years were probably the late 2000s, early 2010s. And as I grew up, I think really our generation saw this cultural war because I would say that probably for the first half of my life, homosexuality was largely disapproved of. Gay marriage was not legal. Generally, people still were sane about this issue. The consensus was that this was abnormal and all the rest. But as I came up, I would say in like grade school and middle school and ultimately in high school, you saw that the culture began to shift. And this happened on television. This happened in politics. Barack Obama and the Supreme Court allowed gay marriage to get passed. And so I think it was one of these formative like political events for my generation, the gay acceptance thing. I think that really influenced a lot of people. I think, in a way, a lot of people are almost pressured into accepting it because, the media portrayed anybody that opposed homosexual acceptance as, some kind of bigot or intolerant or a fanatical religious person or something like that. And so I think with my generation in particular, was one of these culturally dominant forces. And now I would say you're right. Probably the vast majority of Generation Z and millennials think that this is something that's okay, or they're just simply afraid to oppose it. But we're going to try and make it cool to oppose it again.
Do you know what's crazy as well? Because Catholicism is where you get the more sterner side, and I think Jesse is actually Protestant. Now, Protestants is where you get a bit more namby-pamby with religion and things like that. But I know Nick is Catholic, but I'm actually surprised Jesse is as strict with things as he is. and be Protestant, because the gay thing is kind of a hard thing for the Bible, because it does say that. I think it's in Leviticus, but Leviticus is like a long ass load of rules, and they're insane. And I do think that it's almost impossible to follow every law in Leviticus for the fact that you don't judge other people, because you're going, each is equally as important. Um, yeah, but it's a it's a tricky thing, because I read a comment about um because I am actually like whatever. I'm not afraid to oppose being gay. I just grew up like Nick did. I'm in the era where it was just like it's just people were gay. It's just regular. But um, I saw a comment on a Christian thing. I watch a lot of Christian channels, and one of the comments said it was about, does Christianity technically outlaw homosexuality? And kind of basically the guy says it does. It says lie with a man, but actually in the original text, it's more specific to the act of having sex basically with a man. Um, but I saw in the comments someone wrote like, "Oh, I feel like my whole life I've like struggled with homosexual thoughts," and that's like, to me, because just the thought of it disgusts me. Like I don't oppose other people doing it, but me doing it is the thought of it just is repulsing. Anything to do with, yeah, it's like, nah. So to say like, if you're someone, and I'm not, like I say, I don't hate gay people. It's just I'm not gay. Like it's just, yeah. But if you're someone who actually has them thoughts, like I don't, how are you not gay? Like I don't think you struggle with it. You're gay, like, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, is it like he obviously wants to be Christian, and but it's like, is he just gay? And he's kind of, I don't know. It kind of made me feel a bit bad for the gay guy in the comments, to be fair, when he was saying I'm struggling, and it's like, because I was thinking, if you like live a perfect life, and say like in a gay relationship, like, say if you have like two men fall, which I know what Jesse says, it sounds weird, but they fall in love with each other, and they kind of have a faithful relationship just together. Would that be better? Like, as say if you was like two faithful gay guys that just stayed together, and you, outside of your being gay, you don't hurt nobody, you don't do nothing, you're not sleeping around, because that's also a no. So you're not committing adultery. Will God really make you burn in hell? Like, I don't know. Like I say, I'm new to Christianity, but I don't know. Let's go, man.
Went to college. You graduated from college, right?
I did not. I dropped out of college.
Oh, good for you, man. How did you have sense enough to drop out?
Well, thanks. First of all, yeah, my mom didn't feel the same way that you did when I dropped out. She didn't say good for you, but the thing about college that I saw is it cost a lot of money,
Yeah.
and I was there every day. And every day I was thinking to myself, how am I going to pay back however much money I'm going to get in debt? I'm thinking every day about how much money is going from my pocket, or in debt, to the college or to the government. And I'm thinking, how am I ever going to make back this money? How is this degree going to get me a job? And I just couldn't square it. I would go to my classes, and the professors were all ridiculous. Some of them were saying things I knew weren't true. There was one class I took where the professor, he was teaching the wrong class for half the semester, teaching out of the wrong textbook. I said, this guy's a bonehead. What am I doing learning here? So So I dropped out. I started working. I started working at UPS, actually, saving my money, and
Right
here I
on.
am now.
Amazing. You are amazing to be a Zoomer. You are something else, man. But let me ask,
Thank
when you were in college, while you were there, were you afraid to speak?
UPS is delivery, innit? Impressed because someone said that as a criticism of Nick Fuentes. He's never had a Nick Fuentes. How can he know what it's like? He's never had a job. Obviously, he did. He dropped out of college. Like I know people like I went to school with, and they went to university, then stayed on to like you end up not having a job till you're like 24, and it's not in the profession you got your thing in. But so Nick did have like that's kind of a like a physical proper job. Do you know what I mean? I'll give him that.
Up and disagree or anything?
I would not say I was afraid. I was a pretty outspoken student on campus, but I should have been afraid, I guess, because a lot of people sent death threats my way, and ultimately I was basically expelled more or less from the school. Not in a legal fashion, but I felt like I was really unwelcome on the campus because of my conservative views.
What is it like for white young men and women today knowing that they're so hated by the people of color when it's the whites who founded and built the greatest country on this side of heaven so the people of color can be here, which was a mistake, by the way. But what is it like living a life like that?
It's pretty alienating. I have to say that's probably, in my opinion, that's a source of a lot of the problems for our generation. A lot of the mental, so-called mental, social problems, I think, derives from the fact that white people don't feel like they can be themselves. I don't think they're proud of their heritage. I don't think they're proud of who they are. They're brought up in a curriculum in the public school system and in college, teaching them that they're evil, they're responsible for slavery and the Holocaust and racism, and meanwhile. Blacks, Hispanics, Asians are taught to be proud of their heritage. The rhetoric surrounding non-white people is that they're vibrant, they're enriching the country, they're unique, they're beautiful. And the rhetoric for white people is that their legacy is shameful and they should be sorry and they must apologize and not speak out of turn and so on. I think that's a very damaging thing to say to young children.
Yeah,
I mean, there's rhetoric
absolutely.
where it says that, babies are born racist. I mean, what kind of thing is that to say? So I think it's had a very damaging effect.
But do the people of color recognize that they have entered into white people country, left their own s-hole countries? If the people of color were so wonderful and smart and amazing, why don't they build countries to indicate that? Why do they have to come to the white man country and set up shop? Why don't they stay home?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm asking myself the same thing, right? I mean, you would think with the people that show up, people that come across the border, if they're immigrants or people that have been here for generations, and it seems like all they can do is complain.
Yeah,
Because you're right, it was white people that built this country. And you
yeah,
see, especially on college campuses, the militancy of non-white people, the demands, the anger, the righteous indignation of these people. And you're exactly right. If there was something that was so they talk about black excellence or excellence for minorities, if that was so excellent, exactly right, why don't they go to Mexico or why don't they go to Nigeria or China or
yeah.
whatever, make their own
Mommy
country great?
Africa? They can always go to Mommy Africa.
That's right. Africa's a lot bigger than America, but for some reason they stay here and they live in a white society that whites created, but they just like to sit around and talk about how racist we are. Go figure.
I have so much I want to ask you about. Oh, are you close to your father? It's manhood hour. Are you close to your father?
I am. I'm very close to my father.
What do you think of the fact that older white men have not spoken up and now the younger white men and women are suffering for it?
Well, I think it shows an abdication of responsibility. I've been saying this for a long time. On my show, I attack the boomer generation because the boomers, the older white men, were not good stewards of their civilization. When
Yeah.
they saw Christianity going away, when they saw their country going down the tubes, they didn't stand up and put a stop to it or defend the family. They were out at rock and roll concerts, or smoking pot or, doing these kinds of things. They were concerned with themselves, with their money, with things like that. And so I think it's just a total lack of responsibility. And now, unfortunately, young people like me have to rise up, and we have to try and fight for what's right.
Yeah, it's funny because my country gets the same thing. And people say, like, this ain't even our land anyway. It's like, well, whose can it possibly be then? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's been the same people here for years. I mean, thousands of years. And we get the same thing. Like, no, we have a right. We have to pay. It's like the British Empire is the first empire ever that outlawed slavery. But for some reason, we got to pay for everyone who was a slave. It's like places like Portugal, France, Spain. These places had a lot more slavery going on than we did, but for some reason, we should have to pay back anyway. And I see someone comment saying, "Well, I'm English. I want money from the Italians and the Scandinavians for yeah, for selling us into slavery, for conquering England." And it is. I have invaders' DNA in me. Like literally. My blood is like reading the history of England, basically. It's like, yeah, bit of that, like the Anglo Saxons and yeah, um, Viking. Really, them two is the most dominant two, but the Anglo Saxons was before England was anyway. But yeah, we're in the same thing now. Um, yeah, and I think that's why um, my country loves Trump so much. They do love Trump. People love Trump in my country, and I think it's because it's like he's doing what people have wanted our politicians to do for the last 30 years, but instead, it's like, for example, I saw a video. I'll do a video about it. I saw a video of a woman saying she got attacked by a man. She'd just been attacked. She was on her way to a job interview, and she got like pushed against the wall by a man, punched, and all that. She's sitting there crying. She's like, I'm just getting my confidence up, and then something like this happens, like crying her eyes out. Then just give a description of the man. Because if she'd have said in that video, I just got attacked by an illegal immigrant, I just got attacked by a Pakistani, um, I just got attacked by whatever, some immigrant, she'd have been arrested for it. Think of that. That's how crazy this country is. You watch it, she's just been beat up by a man, and not once does she give any description because she knows. If she says actually who it was and she says that an immigrant done it, the police will come and kick her door in. Yeah, but that's changing. That's changing. And I think even immigrants in our country know it now. You got a few diehards hanging in there trying to think that their racism claims are still going to work, and it's like that ship has sailed, and the smart immigrants know. But even immigrants say it. Even immigrants that say have been in our country since the 70s and 80s, they'll be like the country's standards have gone ridiculously down. You know, when we come to Britain, Britain wasn't like this. It was completely different. She's like, basically, we come to Britain for a better life, and now Britain is basically where we left. I see another thing when someone said, if it looks like if it looks like Pakistan, smells like Pakistan, sounds like Pakistan, you're probably in England. But yeah, that's the video. Sweet.